Last time, we left off with a huge question, a real mind-bender. What if you can't actually prove any of this is real? Now, that's not just some late-night dorm room philosophy, it's a doorway. And today, we're going to walk right through it. We're going to explore what happens when you start living as if your life is a dream, not to escape it, but to find this incredible power that's waiting for you inside of it.
And really, this slide just cuts right to the chase. In a nightmare, you're just reacting, right? You run from the monster, you're a puppet, and fear is pulling all the strings. But the second you realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm dreaming, everything changes. Suddenly, you have the power to choose. You can turn around and face that monster. So the real question for you, for me, for all of us is, in our waking life, which column are we living in most of the time?
All right, so we're going to start by looking at that weird, surreal feeling a lot of us have about modern life. Because, experienced dream masters understand something really important about this. That feeling isn't a bug in the system. It's actually a feature. It's a clue that's inviting us to look a little bit deeper.
I mean, you felt this, haven't you? From deepfakes that look so real they're scary, to news cycles that feel like they're rewriting reality from one day to the next. That feeling, that little glitch in the matrix sensation, it's not just a meme. It's like the universe is holding up a giant sign saying, "Psst, hey, the rules are way more flexible than you think they are."
Okay, so if the rules are more flexible, if reality is kind of glitchy, then we're going to need a new operating system to navigate it, right? So let's install the core software. These are the tools that let you move through the world with intention and power, instead of just getting tossed around by whatever happens next.
And the foundational skill, the absolute bedrock of this whole thing, is lucidity. And we're not just talking about being in bed at night and realizing you're dreaming. Think about your day. You get that frustrating email, that comment from your boss, and you just react. Lucidity is the power to create a tiny pause, a little gap, between that thing that happens and your reaction. And in that gap, that's where all your choice is. That's where your power lives.
So these are the core tools for our new OS. You can almost think of them like apps on your phone. Lucidity, that's your awareness app. Perspective lets you zoom in or zoom out on a situation. Vibration, that's the emotional signal you're broadcasting. The shared dream is your ethics filter, reminding you we're all connected. And staying awake, that's like your phone's focus mode. It's all about sustained intention.
So this is the crucial question. How are you operating right now? Are you on autopilot? Just running old scripts from your childhood, endlessly doom scrolling, letting some algorithm decide what you should feel angry about today? Or are you operating with lucidity, pausing to choose, questioning why you're feeling a certain way, responding with intention? You stop being a user, running someone else's program, and you start writing your own code.
Now, I know this can all sound a bit abstract, so to make it really concrete, we're going to use the experiences of a young man named Phillip Ashling as our kind of training manual. His journey gives us these tangible, real-world examples of how all these ideas actually work in practice.
So Philip's journey really kicks off when he has this dream about a mansion that feels hyper-real, like more vivid, more detailed, more solid than his actual waking day. And that just shatters his whole concept of reality. If his own mind can create a world that feels more real, then what does real even mean? And then it gets weirder. He dreams he's at a carnival in Mexico and wakes up with a legitimate, painful sunburn. The dream left a physical mark. But you know what? It's his nightmares that really push him to the next level. A beautiful coral reef suddenly twists into a scene of pure horror. His school bus driver goes totally insane. And we know from practice that when you become more lucid, your relationship to the nightmare changes. These aren't just random, scary things happening to him. They are spiritual wake-up calls, forcing him to find new tools to deal with his reality.
And that search leads him to a guide, a figure in his dream called the metaphysician, who just gives him this radical new framework. He says, your dreams aren't just your brain firing off randomly. They were glimpses into parallel realities. Whoa, that reframes everything. Suddenly, Dreamwork isn't about escaping life. It's about actively learning how to navigate different potential realities and how to choose.
So how does he actually start choosing? Well, first, he's given a name for the source of these nightmares, Draiths, which you can think of as just negative energy or bad vibes. And to deal with them, he gets a tool, a special kind of dream catcher called a Nagwagagan. But this isn't just a decoration. Think of it like a spiritual antenna. By setting it up with the clear intention to be safe, he changes the signal he's sending out. He is literally changing the channel of his reality from a horror movie to a fantasy adventure.
And once he has these new tools, he starts to really practice true lucidity. In one dream, he's in this huge, epic snow fort. It starts out as fun, but it quickly turns into this terrifying, brutal conflict. And at first he's just trapped down on the ground, reacting, suffering, running the nightmare's script.
And then, the shift. Instead of just fighting the battle on its own terms, Phillip remembers he's in a dream. He remembers he has a choice. And he just wills himself to fly, soaring high above the whole chaotic scene. Now, the conflict doesn't just vanish, but his relationship to it, his power over it, is completely transformed. And that's lucidity in real life, right? You can't always change the situation, but you can always change your altitude.
This next part is the ultimate proof of concept. Phillip dreams about taking a makeup exam, and I mean every single detail, from the banana pancakes his mom makes that morning to the exact questions on the test. Then he wakes up, and his day unfolds, step by step, exactly like the dream. But here's the kicker. He doesn't just replay the script like a robot. He uses the information from the dream to ace the test, but he consciously changes his answers just enough so it's not suspicious. He's not a puppet of fate. He's a conscious co-creator, updating the code of his reality in real time.
Okay, so Phillip's story is incredible. It gives us the map. But now it's your turn to actually get in the driver's seat. Let's talk about how you can start using these exact same tools to activate your own lucidity, starting right now.
The first practice is so simple. Anytime during your day that something feels off, glitchy, surreal, or just weirdly repetitive, don't just get frustrated. Treat it like a dream sign. Just pause and ask yourself this one simple question. If this were a dream, what pattern is it trying to show me? That question alone can shift you from being a character in the game to being the player.
Second, you can start running a little nightly diagnostic on yourself. Think of it as debug mode for your soul. Before you go to sleep, just set a simple intention. Ask a specific question, something like, show me one pattern I'm ready to let go of. Then, when you wake up, just jot down any little piece of the dream you can remember. And then, here's the key. Ask, where is this feeling or this symbol showing up in my actual life? It's about seeing your own programming more clearly.
And this is really the most important thing to remember. This entire practice, this whole way of thinking, it isn't about escaping your life or deciding that, oh well, nothing matters. It's the exact opposite. It's about learning how to be more present, more engaged, and way more powerful inside the life you're already living. The goal is not to leave the dream, it's to wake up inside of it.
So here's the bottom line. If life really is dreamlike, then where you put your attention is your superpower. Your attitude is your paintbrush. Those two things are the closest you're ever going to get to having administrator access to your own reality. So the only question left is, what kind of world are you going to choose to create with